Hi, my name is Joseph and we are currently in the tourist office of Lens-Liévin. Today we'll discover its surroundings. This area has been marked by the First World War, the coal mining industry, and it's now a region in metamorphosis. Well, let's go to the countryside to discover the battlefields of World War I. The First World War started on the 28th of July 1914. After invading Belgium, the north and the east of France, the German forces have been repelled by the French and British troops during the Battle of the Marne. After this battle, the different armies tried to outflank their enemy by attacking more and more to the north up to the Belgian coast during the race to the sea. After those battles, the different armies tried to get the strategic points, and in our area those points are the Vimy Ridge, the Mont Saint-Éloi and the hill Notre-Dame-de-Lorette. That's why we are now on the hill Notre-Dame-de-Lorette, where thousands of men died in the effort to conquer to keep this place. This giant French national necropolis houses 42,000 soldiers of World War I, a chapel and a lantern tower. As a Christian religious building was going to be built, we needed a monument for soldiers of other faiths as well. That's why the lantern tower watching over the dead soldiers has been raised. In order to commemorate the centenary of World War I, our region has created a new museum and a monument, the Ring of Remembrance, which bears approximately 580,000 names. They are the names of all the soldiers who died in the region Nord-Pas-de-Calais during the 4 years of this war. Almost half of these names are those of soldiers of the British Empire, 104,000 are names of French soldiers, and 174,000 are of German soldiers. Among them there is the German soldier Paul Mock, who lied about his age and died at only 14 years old. The Canadian officer John McRae, who wrote the famous poem In Flanders Fields, a young coal miner of New Scotland, John Arsenault, also some women like Catherine Monk MacDonald, who gave her life to nurse people, and some native Canadian soldiers like Joseph Standing Buffalo, Sitting Bull's grandson. Built at the foot of the hill of Notre-Dame-de-Lorette, the Lens 1418 presents the history of the Great War on the soil of the Nord-Pas-de-Calais, with the aid of contemporary museographic techniques, 400 pictures displayed in large size, dynamic maps, and archive films that immerse the visitor in the First World War. One of the biggest Commonwealth cemeteries is only a few kilometers away from the Lens 1418, the Cabaret Rouge British Cemetery, which hosts more than 7,600 soldiers. More than half of the soldiers resting in this cemetery have not been identified, including many Canadian soldiers who lost their lives during the Battle of Vimy Ridge. One of them have been exhumed in May 2000 to rest symbolically in Ottawa in front of the Canadian National War Memorial. Only a few kilometers away from the Cabaret Rouge British Cemetery, the remains of 44,000 German soldiers have been grouped in the White House German necropolis. Its design is supposed to show the communion between man and nature. Inspired by the Germanic mythology, it's like a forest where the dead warriors rest. We are now on Vimy Ridge, where one of the clearest Allied victories took place. Along with the hill Notre-Dame-de-Lorette, the Vimy Ridge has been a goal of the different battles of Artois. Creating new military tactics, the Canadian soldiers managed to take the ridge in a few hours on the 9th of April 1917. The landscape still holds the tracks of the shells and the mines that exploded here, and as the 4 Canadian divisions fought together for the first time, this date and this place became symbols of the birth of the independent Canadian nation. That's why Vimy Ridge has been chosen after the war by the Canadian Battlefields Memorials Commission to host an impressive monument designed by Walter Seymour Allward. This monument symbolizes the friendship between France and Canada and remembers the sacrifice of tens of thousands of Canadian soldiers. To know more about the Battle of Vimy Ridge, visit the new Interpretation Center that will be inaugurated on the 8th of April 2017. This ridge offers a strategic point of view on the coal basin of the Nord-Pas-de-Calais. The coal of this strategic region represented over the half of the French coal production. The entire area has been devastated during the war, and we will now head to Los-Anguel, where terrible battles took place. The Battle of Loos in 1915 and the Battle of Hill 70 in 1917, when the Canadians entered Lens. Higher than the natural hills around us, the spoil heaps, which are 186 meters high, are made of rocky mine spoils. In our region, the coal has been extracted during 270 years, and the mining companies created actual cities around the pit heads. Spoil heaps and head frames of pits were used by the soldiers to observe the enemy, and there are no leisure spots where the population can discover the mining history or do sports like running or even paragliding. After going through different mining villages, we have arrived in the heart of the city, the Jean Jaurès Square. The city of Lens has been fully destroyed, and after war the owners had the right to choose the architectural style they wanted for their homes. That's why there is an interesting mix between the Flemish architectural style and the Art Deco, with some stepped gables and a lot of mosaics showing flowers and cornucopias. The major Art Deco building of Lens is the train station. This station has different particular features, one of which is quite obvious. It has the shape of a locomotive. It also has very nice mosaics representing the former major activity of the region, the coal mining. Now all the mines are closed and some pit heads are turned into memorial sites. One of those former pit heads now houses the annex of one of the world's most famous museums, the Louvre Lens. The city of Lens has been chosen to house the annex of the Louvre Museum. This beautiful modern building created by the Japanese architectural firm Sana has been inaugurated in 2012 near the city center. This major project is a part of the ambitious requalification project of the coal basin, and it hosts pieces of art covering a 5,000 years period. We'll now have a look at the permanent exhibition. About 200 pieces present the art of Mesopotamia, Egypt, Antique Greece, Rome and Middle Age up to the modern times, while the temporary exhibitions enable to discover more accurately the art and history of different periods. Easily reachable from Paris, Brussels, London and Lille, this museum has become France's most visited museum out of Paris. Well, after a journey discovering the history and patrimony of the region, different restaurants offer traditional dishes like Welsh rabbit, pot de Flemish stew and of course French fries with one of the local breweries' beers. Cheers, santé!